dear radio listeners and viewers joining us via live stream or the replay. I'm Shantae, better known as Life Coach 614, here on social media, and I am thrilled to have each and every one of you here with us today as we embark on a new journey of self-care and well-being together. Before we dive into today's main topic, let's just set a few ground rules to ensure a positive experience for everyone. In order to maintain a harmonious atmosphere, our dedicated admins and moderators are here to assist us with the chat today. This space is all about sharing, caring, and embracing each other's unique self-care journeys. Your active participation and engagement are key to cultivating the positive energy that we value so much. We kindly ask that you be mindful of your contributions, as all donations and subscriptions during the live stream directly support the Self-Care Club LLC. Your generosity helps to create a ripple effect of positivity within the community, enabling us to continue to spread joy on purpose. If anyone is seeking any additional information about the Self-Care Club or to book a personalized one-on-one life coaching session with me, please feel free to visit selfcareclub.org for more details. Again, that is selfcareclub.org for more details. Let's pledge to make this community a beacon of positivity for everyone. If you are ready to embark on a new self-care adventure, please flood the chat with some green hearts for me. Green hearts in the chat for me. Let me know you're ready. Thank you guys. Thank you. I see you guys. So we got Kale, we got Rose, Diana, Perk. Let me see who else we got in here today. We got a few visitors on the south side, y'all. We don't know about that yet, but y'all listen, it's more fun if you just log in. Be your authentic self. Homegrown, I see you up there, Ann. Thank you. All right, you guys. So our topic for today is the language of love. We're going to talk about effective communication in relationships and friendship. So, with the topic being, hey Zaddy, with the topic today being the language of love, we're going to explore the language of love and how effective communication is essential to both romantic relationships and friendships. Love is the bond that we form, or how do I want to say this? The bonds that we form with others are deeply influenced by how we communicate. Okay? When we look at this, we communicate through our words, through our actions, through empathy. And so effective communication strengthens our connections and helps us to then foster understanding. It helps us to build trust. While if we have poor communication with our partners or our friends, it leads to misunderstandings and strained relationships. I'm sure that there are a few people in here who could say they know a thing or two about that, right? Today we're just going to dive into how or ways that we can improve our communication to build stronger, more fulfilling relationships and friendships with our loved ones. So, when we think about the foundation of all relationships, right? It's communication. So again, the foundation of all relationships is communication. Communication is the bedrock of any relationship, be it romantic or platonic. It's through communication that we are able to express our needs, we can share our dreams, and we can navigate life's conflicts. When it's done effectively, communication helps to strengthen our connections, helping to foster understanding, and it helps to build the trust. And like I said, when we have poor communication, that leads to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, broken relationships, right? Failed marriages. loss of friends. And so we've got to start to think about these key elements of communication. And so I've listed 5 key elements. Number 1 being active listening. Okay? Active listening. Communication is not just talking. You've got to do more than this, right? When we are communicating with each other, it means we are taking turns. We are taking time to not only talk to one another, to say what we mean and mean what we say, we're also taking the time to listen. We're not just hearing the words coming out of someone's mouth, we're listening, okay? So, active listening. True listening goes beyond hearing words. It involves understanding the emotions and the intentions behind them. We've got to practice active listening by focusing entirely on the speaker, giving them your undivided attention. Right, Miss Tila? Maintaining eye contact. So when you're talking to someone, you look them in the eye. When someone is talking to you, you look them in the eye. You give them your attention. And we are all guilty of this, right? Many of us have our phones right here. Boom. And so someone's talking to us and I'm like, yeah, I'm listening. No, you're hearing me, but you're not listening. So again, I too, have work to do on this because again, we'll have our phones in our hand. We'll have our tablet in our hand. We'll be busy. We're multitasking, but we've got to really begin to be more active with it. And even though Diana says it's rude, yeah, it can be rude. And so we've got to be more intentional about it. We've got to be more purposeful about it. And like I said, we all do it, right? It's the new normal for us these days. And so we've got to understand that in order to practice active listening, we have to listen by focusing entirely on the speaker, maintaining eye contact, and responding appropriately. Give them more than a yeah, that's not active listening, right? That's tolerating what they're saying. So we've got to be more engaging in what they're saying. And then we need to be able to reflect back on what we've heard in order to confirm understanding. There are times when people are talking to us and we're like, oh yeah, I hear you. But we've demonstrated no level of empathy. This person has poured their heart out to us and we've just, wasted their time, wasted our time. Rich Risings, Allie, welcome in, love. And so again, we've got to be more conscious and more intentional about active listening. Okay? So then number 2 is clear expression of thoughts and feelings. Clear expression of thoughts and feelings. We have got to be open and honest about our emotions and our needs. Okay? It's not enough just to feel how you're going to feel. We've got to be open. We've got to be honest. We've got to be truthful with our loved ones and with ourselves to be willing to express what we need, how we feel, right? When we're clearly expressing our thoughts and our feelings, we need to use I statements, right? Because we need to be accountable. So we need to use I statements to express yourself without blaming other people. For example, I feel upset when you change the plans. I feel upset when plans change at the last minute. So I don't even put them in it, right? I'm telling them, I was mad that you changed the plans on me at the last minute. But I don't want to come off like I'm attacking them, right, Shan? We're Risings. I want to say, I feel upset when plans change at the last minute. That sounds so much better than saying you always change the plans, right? So I feel upset when the plans change at the last minute. That's me using an I statement. I'm talking about my feelings and I'm allowing the other person to take accountability where they feel like they need to. So I'm not saying you always changing plans on me at the last minute. I'm not attacking them. I'm simply saying my feelings are hurt or I am offended when plans are changed at the last minute. And if you happen to be the one to do it, then you're going to say, oh, I apologize because I just did that. You see what I mean? So I don't feel like the person is attacking me. Or the person that I'm speaking to doesn't feel like they're being attacked. And then you want to avoid making assumptions. Avoid making assumptions. Instead, ask questions for clarity. So don't assume you know why a person did or didn't do something. Ask questions for clarity. Allie says, I feel upset when I don't get cinnamon rolls, but this diet is more important. Listen, I feel you on that, Allie, okay? It's hard. It is hard, but listen, you are strong. You got this. You got this, love. So number 3 is nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication. Our body language, our face expressions, and our tone of voice can convey so much more than just words. Y'all, my face is in need of deliverance. I know it. I got RBF most times. Or when we are communicating with people, you know, we're going in and we're having a conversation with someone and our arms are crossed like this. When we have our arms crossed like this, that is closing off the conversation. There's nothing open about that. That the person, listen, if you sitting there in a conversation like this, you're telling the person, listen, this is a barrier between me and you. I'm not open to this conversation. Yeah, Kel, my face has a mind of its own too, love. Welcome in, Sweets McGee. I see you, sis. Bridget, thank you for the follow. So we've got to be mindful of our body language, right? Where our hands are placed, where we're looking, right? We've got to be mindful of our facial expressions because, listen, our face be having a mind of its own. And so we also have to watch our tone of voice because when a person says something in an angry sort of tone, then all of a sudden you're defensive. Your idea or thought process is, I need to retreat. I don't want that energy. Or if a person comes into a situation and they're like, yeah, I don't like when da 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 da. You're like, what? Like, I can't even take you seriously because you can't even say it. So how am I supposed to believe you, right? Like you're not even speaking clearly. You're mumbling. You're whispering. You know what I mean? So you've got to find that middle ground into how you say it, right? Because sometimes it's not the message, it's not what we're actually saying, it is how we say it to people. You know, I can remember growing up in the household with my mom and dad, and the phrase that was always thrown around was, are you asking me or telling me? Because as kids, we would come to our parents and we would say something, but the tone of voice or the demeanor, you know, the action that we demonstrated by it, like our body language or whatever, would definitely be more on the demand, like we were telling our parents something versus asking them for something. And so, you know, I always think about that when I try to approach conversations or I'm engaged in a conversation with someone. You know, are they asking me or telling me? And like I know that I struggle with being told what to do. I don't like people telling me what to do, right? Because I'm a strong Black woman and I'm super independent, right? But seriously, like I don't like to be told what to do. It sets a negative tone for me. And I believe that you can ask people to do something. Thank you, sweets. I believe that you can ask someone to do something and get more, right? They say you get more with honey than you do vinegar when it comes to the bees. And so, you know, when you're wanting someone to do something, focus on asking them to do it. Even if it's their job, you know what I mean? So if you're in a management position or you need to go work with a coworker and you need them to do something, you don't have to say, go do da 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 da, right? You just ask them, hey, I need you, you know, or hey, can you go da 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 da? Well, if they understand their job and they know their job, then it's definitely a yes. You see what I'm saying? Like that's that underlying unwritten rule there. Listen, if you're at work, this is your job. I'm just going to ask you to go do your job instead of telling you to go do your job. Because I feel like if it gets to the point where I have to tell you to go do your job, then it's a problem. Right? Like we're all adults. So if I've got to tell you to go do something, then maybe you're not in the right position. So I should be able to ask someone to do something. Can you do this? Can you handle this? Can you process this? Right? And you know that we take that out of the workplace as well. When we're talking to our kids, you know, our kids don't want us to keep telling them what to do, even though we got to keep telling them what to do. So in turn, we just ask them, hey, can you go take care of your chores for me right now? That's my very nice way of saying, go do the dishes right now. Go handle your business. I usually am, you know, when I tell my son, like, my husband says I'm a little passive aggressive. Maybe I am, right? He says I have this way of finessing my words when I want a person to do something. And I'm like, listen, I just empower you to get done what I need done. And so when I'm talking to my son, I'm like, hey, can you go take care of the dishes for me right now, please and thank you? Like, it really wasn't a question. I know you're capable of doing it, so I know you can, right? So I'm just like, you know, please and thank you, meaning I've asked you, and your answer is simply going to be yes, because I've already thanked you for doing it right before you've even done it. Like, please and thank you, you know. And there's no harm in that. Again, it comes off nicer than just putting a demand on a person. You know, I don't know, like I said, for me, I just think that it sounds better when you ask someone to do something rather than telling them to do something. And then, of course, you're always going to have those people who don't appreciate your subtleness, and you're going to end up having to be a little more assertive with them. And you might have to then tell them, hey, this needs to be done. This needs to be done now. You can still end it with a please and a thank you. You can still say it nicely. So just keep that in mind when we think about like that nonverbal communication. Yeah. So what I do, Allie says my kids be like, okay, and then immediately forget, supposedly. So what I tend to do is I forget to pay their cell phone bill for an hour or two, or I forget that they should have access to the internet for a few hours. I go in and I pause internet, or I temporarily restrict cell phones. I've gone as far as we can go to the basement and flip the breaker and cut off your electricity to the area of the house that you occupy. Or if I'm ordering dinner or snacks or lunch or something for the family, I conveniently forget to order something for you. You see what I'm saying? Because if you're suffering from amnesia, it must be hereditary. You must have got it from me. So let me suffer from amnesia too, right? Teenagers will take you there. Teenagers will take you there. Hey, Faith, welcome in, love. So, I mean, again, I still do it with a smile on my face, and then he'll walk in. You know, like I can be calling him, and calling him. He will have the audacity to send me the voicemail, y'all. Like, the nerve. The name on your phone bill is mine. Like, the audacity of it all, right? And I will simply cut off his phone. Now, all of a sudden, y'all, when that game ain't gaming no more, or that conversation quickly ends on him, he'll come in and he's like, did you cut my phone off? Or did you shut my internet off? And I'm like, did you clean the kitchen? Did you do your chores? And he was like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. And so he'll be like, well, all you had to do was ask. No, sir. You're 16. You've been doing these chores for years now, right? You know what needs to be done. So all you had to do was handle your business. But in turn, I had to handle my business. And so he'll go down there and he'll hurry up and do what he needs to do, and then he'll come back. But I'm also not quick to flip the switch back on either. You wasted my time, now I've got to waste yours. right? Teachable moments, because we've got to mirror things to these kids. So I have to let him know, when you decide that you want to wake up and do things on your time and on your terms with no regard to what the household rules are, then as the overseer of this household, I've got to begin to do things on my terms and my rules to let you know how that feels. You want me to move fast? I'm gonna need you to move a little faster, right? So again, let's get back on task here, guys, because these teenagers will have us talking all day. Welcome in, Shan. So number 3 we just talked about was the nonverbal communication, being more mindful of our body language, our facial expressions, and our tone of voice. Number 4 is empathy. Empathy and understanding. Yeah, Shan, embrace them babies while they babies, honey, because when they turn teenagers, you're going to want to prepare the others. I'm just saying, I want to prepare the others every single day. And then I realized it ain't nobody else. Number 4 is empathy and understanding. Strive to understand situations from the other person's perspective. Validate their feelings. I'm not saying you've got to enable them, and I'm not saying that you've got to agree with them. What you have to understand is that their feelings are their feelings, and their feelings are valid. Okay? So you can validate their feelings even if you don't agree with their point of view. You do not have to see things their way. But empathy and understanding means, I understand that you feel that way. You don't have to say, even though I don't, right? I understand that you feel that way. And I will be more mindful going forward. So if it's something that I've done to someone and I've hurt them, I've wronged them, right, in their eyes, and let's say I don't believe that what I did, like I didn't intentionally do what they're saying that I did, right? I hurt them. What up, mind my biz? I hurt them for whatever the situation is. I can validate the person's feelings and let them know, hey, I definitely heard what you said, and I apologize that my actions made you feel this way. So I don't have to let them know that I don't agree. I'm just going to validate their feelings by saying, I heard you. I hear what you said. And I apologize that my actions made you feel that way. Let me tell y'all, that's the part where you add a period. Don't say but. Don't defend yourself. Don't fight the fight, y'all. It's not worth it. Because they're still going to feel how they feel. Their feelings are valid. Just like you now feel how you feel, and your feelings are also valid. And just because, I'm right, it doesn't make them wrong. So we've got to understand that, we can both be right. We can both be wrong. Hold on, my Apple pen is dying. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. So make sure that you are expressing empathy and understanding in these situations. Empathy builds stronger emotional collections. Goodness. Empathy builds stronger emotional connections, and it helps to reduce those feelings of isolation. We've all been in situations with someone where we've tried to express our feelings to them, and that person invalidated how we felt because they didn't agree with how we felt, right? They didn't see things from our perspective. And so they argued us down to the point where now we don't even know how we're feeling, if we're supposed to feel that way, if we're right, if they're wrong, if we're wrong and they're right. Like, now we're so confused in how we feel, so now everybody's frustrated, right? And we all know that that's never been a good feeling. What up, Jelly? Hey, William. So I mean, again, we all have to do our part to express empathy to others and to be more understanding to others. Like I said, just because a person is saying that they feel some sort of way about you doesn't mean you've got to all of a sudden get up and defend yourself and fight some fight or whatever. Honey, that as far as I'm concerned, that battle is not yours. Hey, queen. That battle is not yours. I'm a firm believer now, and okay, when a person feels how they feel about me, I just acknowledge it. Okay. Well, I do appreciate you letting me know, and thank you for telling me. I'll keep that in mind. Even I could care less about what they're saying sometimes, but I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm gonna remember that that when I do this, it makes you feel this way. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you for sharing your feelings with me. Now I'm just going to move accordingly as well. And then number 5 is constructive conflict resolution. Constructive conflict resolution. This is the part where I said we don't always need to lead the charge on the fight, right? Sweets McGee said duly noted. And you just tell them, thank you. I'll work on that. Now, by working on that, that might mean, okay, this is done, right? I don't have to communicate with this person anymore, or I'll keep it completely business. There doesn't need to be anything personal here. Or, yep, they got a boundary, I got a boundary, right? So, conflicts are a natural part of any relationship, right? No matter who you are, who the relationship is with, there's going to be some sort of conflict. We're going to offend people. We're going to hurt people. We're going to wrong people. And most of the time, it's not even intentional. Many of us aren't out here just trying to be mean and hurtful. So we have to understand that, these conflicts are a natural part of life when it comes to any relationship, whether it be romantic or platonic. It happens. But how we handle them is crucial. We've got to approach conflicts from a problem-solving attitude, right? We've got to be more focused on the solution and less focused on the problem. Rich Rising Z, welcome in, love. Again, excuse me, we've got to be more focused on solving the problem rather than the problem itself. So, we want to go into this situation, even as we're telling someone, hey, this is how I feel. This is what happened when when this situation took place. This is how I felt. I need to still go into that by saying, me telling you how I feel, me expressing my feelings is my first step in wanting to resolve an issue. Right? So I'm going to go into it open and looking for resolution, whether that's an apology, whether that's some sort of changed behavior, whether that's some sort of bridge burnt, right? I'm going in this to tell you that I feel this way because I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want something to change. So that's me going into this with a problem-solving attitude. Now, once I said my piece, whatever happens next is irrelevant. So if the person wants to snap on you, if the person wants to come out a bag, if the person wants to argue it, listen, all of that is irrelevant. I said what I said. I felt how I felt, and now it is what it is. Hopefully, if this is someone that you care about, they're going to meet you with a problem-solving attitude as well. But you're going to have some people who are very confrontational. You're going to have some people who want to argue you down. Listen, I already said what I said, right? I've already cleared my chest. It's off my conscience. What you do with it now is on you. So if you want to change your behavior, hey, that's on you. If you want to apologize, hey, that's on you. If you want to argue, guess what? I'm gone, so that's on you. I'm not going to sit here and keep defending my feelings. Because that's what, when that happens, that all of a sudden makes matters 10 times worse. So now we have the root problem, and now we've got all these other problems that are branching off of it. So make sure when you do go into these situations with your friends and your family and your loved ones, your partners, co-workers, whatever, your kids, whatever, make sure you go into this with a problem-solving attitude rather than a confrontational one. And understand that you may be confronted with some sort of, defense mechanism, right? You might be sharing how you feel with a person who is definitely unhealed. What they do on the other side is irrelevant. That just shows you who they are. And we always say when people show you who they are, you got to believe them. So if I come to you in a very loving manner to say, hey, this is how I feel, this hurt me, whatever the situation is. If I come to them and then all of a sudden they pop off on me, yeah, I know every single thing that I need to know. So this conversation doesn't have to keep going. There's no need for me to beat a dead horse. There's no need for you to defend yourself. Later, Kale. Have an amazing day, love. Thank you so much for all your help. So there's no need for me to keep going back and forth. Even if, I say, hey, da-da-da-da-da, and they're like, wah, 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 wah. Listen, I'm not going to come back with the da-da-da-da-da. Listen, I've already articulated myself quite clearly. I'm not going to keep arguing with you. I'm not going to keep going back and forth with a person. I said what I said. Thank you for listening. I'm moving on. Because the whole point of us expressing our feelings is to find some sort of resolution and to find some sort of healing. And if that other person isn't open to it, then baby, I'll go heal by myself. It is called self-care. And since I do love myself, well, I just need to add you on the list of people that I'm very intentional about. And maybe you just no longer get to experience me, right? So focus on resolving the current issue. Avoid dredging up past grievances, and then try to work together on a solution. All right, so when we think of, the language of love, right? We think of love languages. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with what love languages are, but we're going to talk about them briefly. So Dr. Gary Chapman has a concept about the 5 love languages, which are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. And so Dr. Chapman uses these 5 love languages to provide a framework for us to understand how different people express and receive love. This concept is not just applicable in romantic relationships, even though that's where it's often referenced, for couples. But these love languages can also be used in friendships, right? With our children, with our parents, with our coworkers. So when we break down, these 5 love languages, we start with words of affirmation. So people who, and let me say this, these things are very fluid. Sometimes we shift seasons, and what might be our number one this season may change to be in the least of importance the next season. So, and you can be more than one thing. What this does is when you think about the love languages, it just prioritizes how you give love and how you receive love. Okay? So words of affirmation entails verbal expressions of love, appreciation, and encouragement. Acts of service, that is when you have actions that show care and support, like helping someone with a task or running errands for them. Receiving gifts, that is about thoughtful gestures and presence to show that you're thinking about the other person. Number 4 is quality time, spending undivided time together, sharing experiences and activities. And then last, number 5 is physical touch. That is affectionate contact, such as hugs, pats on the back, or even a comforting hand on the shoulder. So, I encourage you guys, if you've never read the Five Love Languages book, it is a really good read. Basically, it's called the Love Languages, the secrets to love that lasts. Um, and so it's good. It's good information. It's a good foundation. No problem, Allie. It's a good foundation when you're on this journey. Like I said, most people use it in relationships. But I know Dr. Chapman also now has it for friendships and with your kids and things like that. It's just more so about understanding what the other person needs, right? Understanding what you need as well. And so understanding your own and your friend or partner's love language can greatly enhance the communication and help you to deepen your relationships. And so when we think about applying these principles to friendships, right? Effective communication in friendships involves many of the same principles as it does in romantic relationships. Friends need to feel heard. Friends need to be understood. Friends need to be valued. So, by practice active listening, expressing gratitude, showing empathy, and resolving conflicts constructively, we can begin to build and maintain strong and supportive friendships. And so, again, in conclusion, as we wrap things up for today, the language of love is spoken effectively through communication, whether that's a romantic relationship or a friendship. By active listening, clearly expressing ourselves, understanding each other's nonverbal cues, practicing empathy, and resolving conflicts constructively, we can nurture our connections and begin to foster deeper and more meaningful relationships with others. Recognizing and speaking each other's love language further enriches these bonds, making our expressions of love more impactful. Okay? So I encourage us all to strive to enhance our communication skills, not only for the benefit of our relationship and our friendships, but for our overall well-being and happiness. Remember, love is not just about what we say, but it is how we say it, and it is also how we show it. So we want to be mindful and careful not to love someone how we want to be loved, because that might not be how they want to be loved. And listen, I'm not going to hold y'all. It's one of the hardest things to do. Like, I honestly struggle with that on a regular basis. We were all raised on this golden rule to treat other people how you want to be treated, right? But as I've gotten older, I understand that no, I don't want to treat people the way I want to be treated. I want to treat people the way they want to be treated. So, I'm a person who values my space, right? I love my independence. I love my ability to just be by myself and focus on a task. Someone else may not want that. Someone else may need the community support, right? And so if I'm treating them how I want to be treated, then I'm not meeting their needs. I'm not fulfilling their needs, right? So when we think about those love languages, the words of affirmation, the acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, physical touch. If I'm coming to a person with acts of service, I'm picking up chores, I'm doing their tasks for them, this, that, and the other, and this person is more of a, receiving gifts type of person, I'm never fulfilling what they need. So here I am running around spinning my wheels doing all of these things, and all they wanted was a little gift, right? So I've got to be mindful to say, hey, you know what? Just because I'm an acts of service kind of girl doesn't mean that you are as well. You might be a receiving gifts kind of girl. And so I need to be able to take the time to understand who you are, what you like, what you desire, and treat you how you want to be treated. And we can all do so with a level of respect where we say, hey, you know what, this is what I like, but I recognize that this is what you like. And I don't have to like what you like, and you don't have to like what I like. You just have to understand that this is what I like. And I just need to be aware that that is what you like. And then that's where it gets hard, because we have to stay true to ourselves and what we like while trying to meet this person's needs as well. And so I think if we start to unlearn that golden rule of treat others the way you want to be treated, and we start to understand that we got to treat others the way they want to be treated, we can have stronger relationships. And again, like I said, you guys, that is something that I definitely struggle with. Like, I won't even hold you. Like, within my marriage, that is one of the things where, you know, me and my husband are very mindful of each other's love languages. The hard work that we get up and do every day is doing what the other person wants. You know, him meeting my needs, me meeting his needs, while me meeting my needs and him meeting his needs. But again, it's just one of those things that it's not impossible. We just have to figure out that we are possible. And, you know, just that's where the empathy comes in. Being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and being more understanding, as well as that constructive conflict resolution. You know, when you guys aren't meeting each other's needs, you can have the difficult conversations and work through it together. So again, that's what I have for you guys today. The language of love, learning to effectively communicate in our relationships and friendships. That's right, Shan. Shan said, I'm possible, y'all. So I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for being here with us today. Your presence and contributions during the live stream today mean a lot to me. All of your support during the live stream directly benefits the Self-Care Club LLC, allowing us to continue to show up each day, making a positive impact in this virtual community. Your generosity absolutely fuels our mission, and it's why I am able to keep coming back every day to do what I do. So if anyone has any questions, comments, suggestions, feel free to reach out to me via selfcareclub.org. There are a lot of resources there that can definitely help. There are a lot of ways to be able to connect with me. Primarily, like I said, if you do the selfcareclub.org, you can just click get help at the bottom and communicate directly with me. So until next time, I encourage each and every one of you to take care of yourselves and embrace the wonderful, unique person that you are. And I hope that you guys will come back and join me again tomorrow for another one of our group life coaching sessions. We do meet Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you who have a schedule conflict, or let's say you came in and you missed part of it, thank you, Wanda girl. You can always catch the live replays. They are typically up by noon each day. So if you go to YouTube and search for the @ symbol, and then Life Coach 614, subscribe to my channel, push the bell, turn your notifications on, and then that way you have access to the replays. You can watch them at your leisure. You can share them with your friends. So if I said a message today and you're like, girl, you need to hear this, you just go in there, press the share button, send it to them, right? Spread that positivity on purpose. So again, if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take a moment today to do so. We are growing over there, and our resources are growing over there as well. So I don't want you guys to miss out. So yeah, head over to YouTube, search for @LifeCoach614, and subscribe. It's free. It's not gonna cost you nothing, but a couple seconds of your time. And I know your time is valuable and precious. But I got something for you when you get there. So subscribing to my channel is the gift that keeps on giving. But thank you guys seriously for today. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have the most amazing day on purpose, filled with purpose. And you guys make sure you carry that attitude of gratitude on throughout the day. Okay? Thank you guys.